May 7th, 2017, Carlisle, Ohio. 18-year-old varsity cheerleader Brooke Skylar Richardson gave birth at home and buried her newborn daughter in the backyard of her parents' house. 2 months later, she described what had happened to her doctor, who informed police. Richardson was ultimately charged with aggravated murder, child endangerment, involuntary manslaughter, and abuse of a corpse. Today, we look back into this case and deep dive into the investigation, the testimony, and the verdict. Ultimately, we ask the question, was justice served in this case? Today, we find out together. This is BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded Throwback, Ohio versus Richardson. And it begins right now. And a good Thursday morning to everybody. Welcome once again to BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded Throwback, Ohio versus Richardson. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. So good to have you all here. This, as I've been saying for over the last day and a half, today is the penultimate installment. After this, I have one last installment, and that'll be tomorrow, which will be all the closing arguments, the verdict, and if necessary, a sentencing. First off, I want to apologize because I know that everyone that was watching on yesterday, part of the testimony was cut off, and I apologize for that. I tried to get it back to where I could repost it. I was unable to do so. So if you're looking for all the testimony in their entirety, you can find that in the YouTube comments section. I have both links there. But that was yesterday. Today's today. Today, if you will indulge me after I do a little bit of house cleaning, if you will indulge me for just 90 minutes of your time, I'm going to attempt to make myself a magician of sorts. Today, I am going to take the defense's 5 final witnesses and put it all together in just 90 minutes. That's all I'm asking for. 90 minutes of your time today, then we can devote to closing arguments and the verdict tomorrow. So, having said all that, let me get to house cleaning. First off, I thank you all for joining me. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Love to hear from you on this case. Yep, be sure to smash that like button. It's a free way to help the channel. If you're here and you want to join in on the open panel, it is always open. Click on the link, You can click on the link, copy the link, put it in a new browser window or tab. Love to have you join me here. If you're in chat, just remember that all your comments, your statements, and views are all just speculation, deduction, theory, and opinion that are nowhere near considered as evidence or fact. Your opinions are welcome here. Attacks on other chatters are not. What I want you to do, if you don't like someone's opinion, that's cool. Just click on the three dots right by where their name is. Click on the three dots on the right. Click on block, and you'll never have to hear that from that person again. I'm not looking for any racism, any homophobia, any attacks on character, no spamming. We're not talking politics, nor we were talking religion unless it's related to the case. Other than that, let's keep it clean. For the copyright disclaimer, here you are right on your screen. This is just the short form version. I do have a long form version as well. Your trigger warning, this is one of those, this is where I'm trying to protect your mental health. If you're triggered by anything you see and hear in this testimony today, I ask you to turn away, protect your mental health as I'm trying to. And give credit to where credit is due. All the testimony you'll see and hear today, as you have on the last 8 or so installments prior to this, is all courtesy of Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Now, without any further ado, all I ask is 90 minutes of your time. I have 5 witnesses from the defense. They will take up 90 minutes of your time, starting from the point I hit play.
You may proceed.
Mrs. Riley, can you please state your full name and spell your last for the record?
Yes, Tracy Raylan Reilich, Reilich.
And how old are you?
I'm 31.
Do you have a family?
I do.
Can you give us just briefly your educational background?
Yes, I have an associate's degree in mental health technology. I have a bachelor's in psychology from Ohio Northern University, and I have a master's in science of education, specifically in school counseling from the University of Dayton.
Okay, are you nervous?
Yeah.
Understandable, still a little slower.
Okay, sorry.
What do you do currently?
I'm a school counselor at Carlisle High School.
And how long have you been at Carlisle?
This is my 5th year.
Okay. What's your general role, briefly, as a counselor at Carlisle?
So mostly as counselors, we try to make sure that we help our students reach their educational goals, their career goals, and help them with emotional and social aspects of life, and are generally their advocates on every aspect as much as we can be.
Did you also coach
Yes.
as well? What did you coach?
I coached softball for 2 years, and then I was a swimming coach for 2 years as well.
What do you remember what years you were the swim coach?
Yes, it was 2016 and then 2000, so the school years of 2015, 2016, and then the next year, 2016, 2017.
All right. When do you think you first met Skylar?
I started forming a relationship with Skylar her senior year, which was the beginning of the academic year of 2016.
So around August of 16? Mm-hmm. Prior to her, your relationship with Skylar, were you aware of Skylar and anything about her?
Yes.
What was that?
I knew that she was a very popular girl. Some of the staff and I had just talked about how she was a really sweet girl, and there was a lot of talk about some of her past relationships with some students and her eating disorder.
Okay. And was that a relationship issue dating back to 8th grade with the boy named Adam?
It is.
When I want to move to senior year when you had a relationship with Skylar, that would have been fall of 2016, correct?
Correct.
And when, tell us how often you saw Skylar in the fall of 2016.
So she was one of my students. I'm in charge of all students 9 through 12 with the last names M through Z. So not only was she my student, but she was our student aide for our counseling office. And then, so I saw her every day for at least a period as she was my aide. And then when we started swim, I saw her approximately an hour and a half every day for 2.5 to 3 months.
All right. Let's start with the aide.
Mm-hmm.
So she was an aide in your office every school day of her entire senior year?
Yes.
And what did she do as an aide?
She would alphabetize things when we asked her to. She would run passes and just help with office work, simple office work that didn't breach any confidentiality of other students.
And so you saw her every school day her senior year?
Yes.
And you mentioned swimming. You got to know her more during swim season?
Yes, we on average would spend an hour and a half together a day, and when we had swim meets, it was anywhere between 4 to 8 hours on those evenings that we were together.
Sorry. How many swimmers were there?
That year I had 9 swimmers.
So 9 swimmers. How long did a swim meet take?
The actual swimming or the time I spent with the students, because swim meets were only about 3 hours, but bus rides and time before and after was anywhere between 4 and 8 hours, depending on the evening.
Okay, so 4 to 8 hours in total spent with your students?
Correct.
And it was you and 9 students?
Yes, that year I was the only coach, yes.
And swim season went as late as February of 2017?
Yes, somewhere either really late January, maybe early February, so definitely end of January for sure.
And you were pregnant at the time?
I was.
Your due date was when?
July 16th of 2017.
Okay, so you were about 2 months behind Skylar.
Correct.
What did the swimmers wear when they swam?
They, boys wore swim leotard shorts, and then the girls wore a typical one-piece swimsuit.
Okay, and you saw Skylar in the pool definitely as late as the end of January 2017?
Yeah, yes.
Did you personally, I mean, you were pregnant at the time, did you personally think Skylar looked pregnant?
Absolutely not, no. Especially retrospectively looking back, as far as I was pretty big, and I would never have thought she was pregnant.
You were recently 9 months pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
Did Skylar look at any point full term, like 9-month pregnant woman in April?
No.
Did you still see Skylar in April and May?
Yes.
Did you, being the school counselor, did you have the ability to form an understanding of the reputation Skylar had at Carlisle among faculty and other teachers for interacting with her fellow students?
Yes. I'm sorry, are you asking what kind of reputation she had with the students or how we felt as a staff?
Both.
Okay, so with the student population, it was very well known that she is one of the kinder students. She never made anyone feel out of place. She would always step out of her comfort zone to make sure someone felt included. She was never a bully. She was bullied. And the staff, we always thought she was one of the hardest working students. I really enjoyed being around Skylar. She's really kind, really sweet, and very, very sensitive.
How would you describe her character for confrontation?
She will avoid all confrontation. As far as I knew her, she would not interact with confrontation. She would find a different way, either walk away or find the nicest possible way to end the conflict.
You also counsel students who come to you in times of need.
Yes, yes,
And do you believe you're a good judge of character?
I do. Yeah.
You're aware, you heard probably in July that Skylar had actually been pregnant her senior year, right?
Yes,
And you're surprised when you heard it.
I was, yes.
Do you have the ability, do you think, to determine whether or not she could take the life of a baby?
From what I know her as, yes. And I don't think she would, in my personal opinion.
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you, ma'am. You can step down. Next witness?
Jackson Richardson, Your Honor. Morning, Jackson.
Good morning.
Do you need him to spell his name? How are you related to Skylar?
She's my sister, and I could say she's my best friend.
Okay. Is today your birthday?
Yeah,
How old are you?
18.
Where are you in school?
I'm a senior.
And where do you go to school?
Carlisle.
Okay. Can you tell us maybe, are you nervous?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. What jobs have you worked?
I've always kind of just worked around, just like small jobs. I've never had an official job at like a Kroger or something like that. I've worked on a farm. Going into my senior year or junior year summer in Germantown, and I've helped mulch around. Some of my coaches, they mulch, and I help them mulch.
So, coaches, you play some sports.
Yeah.
What do you play?
Football. I played baseball my freshman, sophomore year, and my junior year I run track, and I plan on running track again.
Okay. We've heard a little bit, your dad testified about your family traditions. Can you just tell us a little bit about when you were young, like Easter and Christmas?
Well, obviously my favorite would be Christmas.
Okay.
Now that we've gotten older, we wake up a little bit later, but when we were 8 or 6, it'd be about 4 in the morning. I'd still be asleep before I even knew how to set an alarm clock. My sister would come running in my room, and she'd scream, "It's Christmas," and we'd get out of bed, we'd run down. My mom would already be sitting in the living room waiting for us to open our presents. My dad would still be in bed. We'd have to push on him and tug on him to get out of bed so we could open presents. It felt like he took forever. And then we'd go and sit in front of the tree, and we'd open our presents. My mom took a picture. We'd take pictures of all of it, and then we'd eat after and listen to Christmas music. And Easter, kind of similar, but not as big. The night before, we'd set out carrots on the front porch for the Easter bunny, and we did that for Santa too, but with Christmas cookies. And so then that morning, we'd wake up about 8 or so, and we'd come down, and my mom and dad would say the Easter bunny came. So we'd check the front porch, and where we left the carrots would be 2 Easter baskets. Mine would be a light blue, and my sister's would be a pink. And it just contained like candy, gift cards, small toys.
Were there other family members around? Never around Christmas?
Well, yeah, we'd do Christmas Eve the day before. We'd go to my aunt and uncle's house, and the whole family would be there. My grandparents, cousins, aunt and uncles, it'd be a big party, mostly for the little kids. The rest of us would just hang around. And then about 3 or 4 days before Christmas, we'd go to my grandma's house, which would be my family, my grandma and grandpa, and then my aunt and uncle, my 2 other cousins, Chase and Savannah, and we'd open presents there early.
Did you see Skylar interact with some of your younger cousins?
Oh yeah, she loved them. She was always the type. She would we'd have little cousins, about 4 or 6 growing up, and she'd always want to be around them, especially one of ours with special needs. She'd always be around him, help him out.
His first name, not last.
Brecken.
Okay. I want to transition for a second. Let's talk about Skylar, difficulties with food over the years.
Okay.
Okay. When do you think you first noticed that she was having some difficulties with her eating?
That'd probably be her 8th grade year. She was really struggling that time, and I just kind of noticed that her and my mom would fight about it just because she would be gaining weight, and then she'd be unhappy with herself, so she'd want to lose weight. and she would just like she would just eat a lot of food, and then I don't know how to explain it. She just couldn't lose the weight.
Did she hide things from your mom and dad about the food?
Yeah, she would. I would have snacks for me just because my parents, I mean, I was fine eating and I controlled it, but I would notice my sister would take some, and my parents would just assume me that ate it, but my sister would eat it too, and she'd get billed sometimes, like the donut place, and come back home with it and eat it before they got home, and my parents just wouldn't know about it.
Okay. Where is your room in relationship to Skylar's room?
It's on the left, just down the hall. It's just
Do they share a wall?
yeah.
And if I were to come up the stairs in your house on the second floor, can you, as you walk up the stairs, can you see into the rest of the house?
Oh, sorry, what?
Is your living room and kitchen, your mom and dad's bedroom door, is that all visible as you walk up the stairs of your home?
Yeah.
And when you get up the stairs, is there a wall, or is it an open hallway also back down into the living area?
It's an open hallway.
Okay, and if I were to walk up at the top of the stairs and straight ahead, I haven't moved, what room am I looking at?
My room.
I look to my right, I see a door, what room am I looking at?
My sister's.
Skylar.
Yeah.
I look to my left, what room am I looking at?
The bathroom.
Only bathroom upstairs?
Yes.
When Skylar, as she has this problems with eating, did you ever purge? Did you ever throw up?
Yeah, I heard her on a constant basis get sick every night or so. Sometimes I wouldn't. It wasn't unusual for me to hear her get sick, and I knew it was part of her eating disorder because I knew she had it. I hated to hear it, but I never wanted to talk to her about it, make her feel bad about it. I just wanted her to be happy. So I would just either turn the TV up, listen to music, or be asleep by then, just block it out.
Could you hear it from your bedroom when she was in the bathroom?
Yeah.
You live with your family has 2 dogs?
Yeah.
And can you tell us if one dog is closer to Skylar than the other?
Yeah, Norman definitely is. He's the younger dog. I mean, him and her are just tight. Like, he definitely loves her more than anyone else. I mean, he's a lover, but definitely likes Skylar more. And he's a great dog. He loves to, cuddle. And he's just really affectionate. But if he hears anything loud, he is a barker. He barks about anything. If he hears something he doesn't know, he'll bark at it, and he'll wake the whole house up.
What did you guys have to do with Norman, like when the police were in your house?
Well, first off, I hoped the police wouldn't get mad that he's jumping all over him, but we'd grab him as fast as we can and put him on the back porch where the police weren't at, or just where they weren't at the time, or if we knew prior to when they were coming, we'd take him to my grandparents' house.
Skylar was a senior in high school and you were a sophomore?
I was a freshman.
You were a freshman, she was a senior?
Yeah.
Did you guys continue to maintain a good relationship?
Yeah, we've always been, friends, but we have never been as close as we were when we were younger. It was about our 8th grade year. We just weren't as close. That was partly just because of everything happening and her just being a teenager, but also she just kind of grew distant because of things that happened.
How's this toll been on your family?
It's definitely been hard. Seeing my mom cry a lot, that hurts, and I've only seen my dad cry twice, and that broke me. I hate seeing that, and just my mom just constantly paranoid that someone's watching, and I just hate to see her like that. People saying things about my sister. I just wish we could have a normal life now, but it's been on 2 years now, and it just seems like it's never going to end.
What's your sister like to other human beings and children?
She's just the kindest person. She's always nice. She just loves to make people happy, like a people pleaser. She wants to make them happy, especially younger kids. She loves playing with them. She's just a super affectionate and kind, caring person.
Thank you, Jackson. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. You can step down. Next witness.
Annie Campbell, Your Honor. Hi, Annie. How do you spell your last name?
Campbell.
And where did you graduate from high school?
Carlisle,
What year?
2017.
Same year as Skylar.
Yes.
What do you do now?
I'm a junior. I go to Georgetown College in Kentucky, and I'm an education major there, and I play softball for the college.
Okay. When do you think you first met Skylar?
Probably kindergarten. We've been in the same grade since we started school.
You've been in Carlisle schools your whole life?
Yes, sir.
And when did you two become friends?
We always knew each other and cheered together, Pee Wee cheer. So we were always kind of just little friends when we were younger, and then we started actually becoming real friends, close friends in middle school, probably around 6th grade.
Okay. And Pee Wee cheer, when was that?
That was from 1st grade all the way up until middle school.
Okay. In middle school, can you tell, when did you first realize Skylar might have an eating disorder?
I want to say it was around 6th or 7th grade when we were very close, is when I could kind of see, her not eating certain things because they had too much fat, but then sometimes she would eat a lot of one thing and not want anyone to know about it, kind of thing. But that was around 6th or 7th grade, I think.
Okay. In what extracurricular activities were you doing in that time frame?
In that time frame, we cheered together for basketball and football. So we were together almost all the time, and I played softball during that time, but I think that was around the time that she stopped playing softball and got more serious about cheer. But we were together most days for cheer.
You aware of any problem that she had with a boy in a relationship in junior high?
Yes.
And did you personally witness his bullying of her following that relationship?
Physically, no. Personally, stories that she has told me from the relationship prior to it happening.
You heard comments that he made to her?
Yes.
How did she respond?
I'm going to object to the line of questioning.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Let's move on, Mr. Rickles.
Is Skylar a confrontational person?
No, absolutely not.
Have you ever seen girls or someone be mean to her?
Yes.
How did she respond to a person if they were trying to be confrontational with her?
She was not one to fight back. I've never seen her argue back or even stand up for herself, for that matter. I've seen her go to the bathroom and cry and get away from the situation, but I've not seen her fight back or argue or anything like that. I've just seen her get hurt.
In high school, did you two play sports at the same time together?
Not in high school, no.
But your friendship remained close?
Yes.
Did you two spend time together outside of school as well?
Mm-hmm.
In your 15 years of knowing, it's been about 15 years of knowing Skylar?
Yeah.
Did you see her interact with other children?
Yes. She had a neighbor that she was close with. He was a little boy, and he would always come over, and if we were outside, playing outside, he would come over, and she adored him, loved him. We would always play with him and jump on the trampoline with him and stuff. And then she also was a cheer coach for, I believe it was called the Rainbows. It was a special needs cheer team that she would volunteer for and help coach them. They were younger girls. And then also in middle school, there was this program where she was selected to kind of be picked out of class once a week maybe, and she would go and sit with the special needs kids and play with them, make instruments with them. I'm not entirely sure what the program entailed, but I remember her being selected by teachers thinking she would be a great candidate for this. And so she was always interacting with kids and special needs kids as well.
Did you personally observe her weight going up and down?
I did notice it. As a friend, I was worried about her always. And I could always see her going from skin and bone to having put on some weight, back to skin and bone, back to putting on some weight. And that was all through from the time we were in middle school.
Do you have any opinion regarding her nonviolent nature?
She wouldn't hurt a fly, ever. I've never known her to be someone that ever wants to upset anyone, hurt anyone. Like you said, with confrontation, she would do anything she could to avoid confrontation and avoid hurting feelings, and she just loves to love on people, and she nonviolent completely.
Thank you, Annie. I have no further questions.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You can sit down.
Yep.
You may proceed.
Dr. Levon, could you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury your full name
Mark Mitchell Levon,
and your professional address, please?
215 Allen Stewart Drive, Pearl, Mississippi.
And are you a medical doctor?
Yes, sir.
What's the nature of your specialty?
Forensic pathology.
Could you give us a description of your educational background?
I graduated from high school and college in Steubenville, Ohio. I graduated from University of Tennessee Medical School in Memphis, Tennessee. After that, I completed a four-year pathology residency training program at West Virginia University. And following that, I've completed a forensic pathology fellowship training program at the University of Tennessee in Memphis. And I'm board certified in anatomic and forensic pathology.
Are you currently licensed to practice medicine in any states?
Yes, sir. Mississippi and I believe my Indiana license is still current.
How long have you been licensed?
Totally in several different states, approximately 32 years.
You mentioned that you're board certified. What does that mean?
Every medical specialty has a board certification, and basically it is a test of your comprehension of your training in that field. In pathology, it was several parts. It was a written test. You looked at microscope slides, looked at photographs, and once you attain a passing score of the board exam, you are deemed board eligible in your field of medicine. And mine is forensic and anatomic and forensic pathology.
Dr. Levon, do you teach? Do you teach?
I do. I teach where I'm currently at. I teach coroners, medical and dental students for the University of Mississippi. I present at national, international meetings, give presentations.
Doctor, have you testified previously in any capacity as an expert?
Yes, sir, many times.
Approximately how many times have you testified as an expert?
Total over the years, I think it'd be in the thousands, several thousand times.
And what type of cases did you testify in?
In my field of medicine, the majority of the cases are homicide cases.
And in the cases that you've been an expert in and that you testified in, did you testify on behalf of the government, the prosecution?
The majority of cases are for the prosecution, yes.
And when we say a majority, what percentage of these thousands of cases that you testified in, what percentage was for the government?
Probably 99% of the time.
Have you ever testified in a case where somebody's been accused of a crime?
I have occasionally in my career, yes.
And so that would be the other 1%?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Levon, could you just briefly tell the jury how it is that I came upon you and have you here today?
An anthropologist employed in my office, I believe the sequence was you contacted him. He wanted to do an examination, asked me permission to do that in the office, and I said that was fine. And during that examination, he consulted with me, and I believe in a phone conversation with that anthropologist, you and I spoke.
Approximately how many autopsies have you performed in the course of your career?
Probably somewhere between 12 and 13,000.
How many autopsies did you do last year?
Last year it was about 715.
Strike. Could you please describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you do as the chief medical examiner for the entire state of Mississippi?
I run the medical examiner's office as a doctor's office, where we examine patients, we admit patients, we examine patients, and we discharge patients. So, and the daily functions of the office, I supervise all the employees, one other forensic pathologist, one office manager, and 8 autopsy technicians. I assist with the writing of the budget, writing policies and procedures. I'm in charge of hiring and firing employees. I do training for the coroners. I testify in court frequently. And I do autopsies just about every single day.
I noticed you said that you treat your patients, and I take it those patients are all dead, correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any experience with...
I hope I didn't say treat patients.
That's
okay.
I misstated.
We admit and examine and discharge.
Did some of your past autopsies include skeleton remains?
Yes, sir, many times.
And are you experienced with remains that have been burned?
Absolutely.
Now, at my request, Dr. Levon, you're here today to give us your opinions based upon your examination of the remains of Annabelle Richardson and other materials. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And before we get into the basis of your opinion, based on your education, experience, and background, do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to the cause and manner of death of Annabelle Richardson?
Yes, sir, I do.
And could you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that opinion is?
In my opinion, the cause of death of Annabelle is undetermined, and in my opinion, the manner of death of Annabelle is undetermined.
May I approach? Doctor, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit DD. And is that the report that, is that your report as a result of this examination?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And attached to that report is your CV, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you would, could you read that portion of the report, the bottom part? Just learning how to use this. This portion right here, could you read that for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, because this is your opinion.
Yes, sir. After review of the above documentation and examination of the skeletal remains, it is my opinion that 1, the skeletal remains showed no identifiable evidence of thermal injury. 2, the skeletal remains showed no identifiable evidence of violent traumatic injury. Number 3, due to the advanced state of decomposition and lack of soft tissue for examination, there is absolutely no identifiable evidence of live birth. Number 4, because of the lack of identifiable identifiable violent injury and the lack of evidence of live birth, it is incorrect to state that this child died of homicidal violence of undetermined etiology.
And when you say it is incorrect to state that this child died of homicidal violence, you're referring to what Dr. Allen testified to here a few days ago, is that correct?
Referring to the opinion in her report.
Now, can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the basis of your opinion?
The major basis of my opinion is the actual examination of the remains, and it was also based on examination of the documentation that's listed on the report. The reason my opinion is the cause of death is undetermined is because there is, in my opinion, after examination of the remains, there is no identifiable evidence of any cause of death, let alone any traumatic cause of death. There's no evidence of the child was alive at birth. And the manner of death, in my opinion, is undetermined because there's no evidence of, and mainly it's based on the fact there's no other available portion of the child to examine. We were only able to examine bones. So the child, it's not possible to say that the child died of a natural death. It's not possible to say that the child committed suicide. It's not possible to say that the child died of an accident. In my opinion, it's not possible to say that the child died of the manner of death is homicide. So of the 5 manners of death, if you cannot assign a manner of death, one of the 4 I just mentioned, then the manner of death, in my opinion, must be listed as undetermined. And undetermined doesn't mean that anything was done incorrectly. It just means that there isn't enough information to choose one of the other 4 manners.
Is there evidence that any evidence that the child was born alive?
In my opinion, no.
Dr. Levon, you also, as part of your examination, you were able to review the interrogation tapes and of Skylar Richardson, is that correct? As part of everything that you looked at. Was that one of the things that you looked at?
There were two videos that I viewed.
Of her interrogation?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
In that second interview, based on your medical knowledge, is it possible to light a baby on fire by putting a lighter to its foot?
Absolutely not.
Doctor, you're also aware that there was no accelerant found at the gravesite?
I am aware of that. That's correct, yes.
And you had the opportunity, subsequent to your report, to review, and I'm a defendant's exhibit QQQQ.
Nature of the objection, you may. Mr. Rickers, you may continue.
Yeah, approach.
You may.
You a document which is purportedly from the state's fire marshal. Have you seen that document before?
I have, yes, sir.
Yeah. And let me have 1 second. Now, assuming that what I just handed to you, and you read that it says no ignitable liquid was detected in exhibits 1, 2, and 3, which were soil samples and a little piece of cloth, would that in any way affect your opinion that you're giving here today?
No.
Dr. Levon, in reviewing those interrogation tapes, the events described by Skylar Richardson in those interrogations that you reviewed is what you pathologists and maybe other docs would call a spontaneous birth in a toilet?
In my opinion, that's correct, yes, sir.
And do you have any idea how often that happens when it comes to you?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I'll rephrase it. Have you had any cases where you've had a spontaneous birth in a toilet?
Yes.
And doctor, is it critical to an investigation where a baby is reported to have come out of its mother into a toilet to know the obstetric history?
In my opinion, yes.
And why is that?
Well, if we're examining the child, the reason we're examining the child is to determine cause and manner of death. And it's useful to have in any patient that we examine in a postmortem examination, it's good to have any medical history that's available. So any prior medical history of other births, complications, that's all useful in determining cause and manner of death of a patient.
What about, is it important to know the mother's level of maternal ignorance? Is that important to an investigation?
I think that's important, yes.
And it's important, why would you say it's important?
Well, it'd be important to understand what the person may have had knowledge of or been experiencing. And it'd be important to, in the investigation, to prevent any improper conclusions.
Improper conclusions from placing too much of an emphasis on the mother's statements in the case history?
That's possible, yes.
Dr. Levon, how important would it be in this particular case to have an obstetrician consult?
Did you ask in this particular case or
in
any
this
case?
particular case?
In this particular case, in any particular case, it would be useful to have information of another expert.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Knippen, you may inquire.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So you note that there is a lack of identifiable violent injury, is that correct?
In my opinion, that's correct.
But you would also agree with me that you would not expect to see violent injury just to the bones of this child if the child was suffocated. Is that fair to say?
There would not be any evidence of suffocation, no.
Okay. And there would not be any evidence just from examining the bones of whether this child may have been drowned in the water. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
And you would agree with me that you can have burning to just the skin or the tissues without it reaching all the way down to the bones. Is that correct?
That's possible, yes.
And due to the advanced state of decomposition of of the body of the child and the lack of soft tissue, really all that we were left with were just the bones themselves. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the fact of the matter is that by the defendant burying this child in her yard for 2 months without telling anyone, she deprived you and anyone else of being able to medically assess what happened to this child. Is that fair?
That certainly diminished the ability to examine the entire body, yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect?
I may have a second. We have no further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another break. You know, sometimes a trial is like a 5-year-old's birthday party. The longer it goes on, the tougher it is to control all the moving parts. So I apologize that we are taking frequent breaks, but we have some stuff that we have to get set up for our next witness. This will be a relatively short break. I anticipate no longer than 5 or 10 minutes. Mr. Mullins, you can take the jury out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, they're taking their next break before the next witness, which will be the defense's final witness, Joe Panzer. Now, first off, I want to give credit where credit is due. I want to give credit to the Honorable Donald Oda II for keeping order in his courtroom, and he's done an exceptional job. Props to him. Props to everybody involved. And I'm gonna remind you again, tomorrow is it. I will bring both the closing arguments from both the defense and the prosecution. The jury will have deliberated, and I will bring the verdict to you. At that point, we will answer the question together. Was justice served? If there's a sentencing that goes with this, I will bring that to you as well. But like I said about today's installment and tomorrow's, today is the penultimate, the installment before the final. Tomorrow is the final. By the end of tomorrow's edition, we will know the fate of Brooke Skylar Richardson. Right now, we're going to go back to the courtroom, and we're going to prepare for the testimony of the defense's final witness, Joe Panzer.
We are on the record outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Rickers, you wanted to make a proffer?
I do, Your Honor. I would like to proffer, for the record, that we had the State Fire Marshal's report, which obviously was not allowed to put into evidence, that says that there was no accelerant used at the scene, and I would like to proffer the document for the record.
Okay, Mr. Knippen, to state a position on that?
You're proffering it for the record, or?
Well, I mean, they're proffering it. Is there any argument that you want to make for the purposes of the appellate record?
Your Honor, the state's objection to it was that it was not properly authenticated. It was my understanding from the witness, he said that he did not rely on that document in formulating his opinion. In fact, even when he was asked the question afterwards, he said it wouldn't have changed his opinion. And so if the defense wanted to have that document properly put before the jury, I believe they could have called the individual that prepared that report.
If I may add,
Go ahead.
if I may respond, This document was provided to us by the prosecution, and I think it's a little bit disingenuous to claim that this is not properly authenticated when they themselves got it from the state fire marshal and gave it to us. And we were going to try to get it through the lead detective, Detective Carter, but she did not testify. So that's it.
Was it, I don't understand, was it part of the investigation?
Yes.
The report, was it part of the investigation? I mean, how would that even help? Detective Carter can't authenticate it, or can she?
And that's the state's position. I don't believe that Detective Carter would authenticate it. Detective Carter didn't prepare that report. Molly Jordan prepared that report.
Anything else? I mean, make your arguments for the record. I mean, I've already decided that I'm not going to permit the expert to testify about it, nor am I going to allow it into evidence. So if you want to tell the folks in Middletown anything about this, assuming that the case gets that far, now is a good time. All right, so any reason not to go ahead and talk about exhibits while we have some downtime? Thanks, Justin. All right, so let's first clarify. Are we going to have an on-the-record discussion about it or an off-the-record discussion? If we're going to have an on-the-record discussion, let's talk in our normal voices. Yesterday, or when we did the defense, we sort of had a quasi-on-the-record discussion. I mean, if it's going to be on the record, just talk so that Debbie can hear you. Sure. All right. So this, we have one other exhibit, so this is subject to the admission, the testimony of the other witness. I mean, I'm not locking anybody into anything here, but at least as we know now, we're going to go through the exhibits and what the objections are to those exhibits. Okay. All right, so what are our exhibits?
Defendant A is just the cover page of the interrogation, unless we want to do a joint exhibit on the interrogation.
I mean, they're already in through the state exhibits.
Okay, well, we just, there are.
You're talking about the transcript?
Oh, the transcript's not. This is in the, it's just a cover page, so we'll take that out.
So no A and no B?
Well, there's no transcript in it, Judge. Can we just use this as the disc or interrogation that we wanted them to be able to see?
Okay, so we're entering the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a cover page of the interrogation, no transcript behind it.
Okay. Objection? No objection to anything, right? It's the same thing?
Correct.
But, I'm sorry, you're going to have the disc in there, or you're going to have just the
They
first
can
page?
use your disc. We just don't want the jury to believe that we didn't want the interrogation to go back.
Oh, okay.
So they can use your disc if you want to provide one as well.
No, you don't have, I was just trying to make sure that I understood.
Okay.
All right, so so A would be the same as, what's the state's exhibit for, so it would be 119? So A equals 119, right?
I don't have our list, Judge.
Here.
And 121, I believe.
119 and 121, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll take that as you are correct, sir.
The disc that you're going to provide, because there's been several discs.
I'm not going to have to provide.
Oh, there's not going to, okay, sorry.
So we'll just put that's the same as 119, same as 121. Okay.
D, Your Honor, is photograph of Carlisle Police Station.
Did we skip over C? What happened to C?
Oh, sorry, C. Yes. A picture of Carlisle Police Station.
No objection.
D, this was not testified to my knowledge, this particular picture.
So D is out?
D is out. I believe E as well. E is out, Your Honor.
Okay.
F was testified to inside the interrogation room.
No objection to F, right?
No, Your Honor.
G?
G, same thing, inside interrogation room.
No objection
No
to G?
objection.
H,
No objection to H?
I believe is out, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
L. Your Honor, L is a photograph of Skylar's bedroom.
All right, so I, J, K are all out?
Correct. J may be with. J might be with our expert, our witness who's coming in.
Okay. So I for sure?
H, I, and K are all for sure out.
Okay. No objection to L through O, right?
We could just stipulate to J, and I won't have to ask him about it. It's just an aerial. I think it might even be from you on Google aerial image.
That's fine.
Okay. Your Honor, we'll just admit J right now.
Okay. So then no objection to L through O, right?
But those are, no, those are
Bedroom?
yours.
Those are ours. L through O are ours.
Those are the ones that are.
One of them.
Okay. No objection to those, Your Honor.
So L through O are in.
Charlie, are these the ones that are out?
Those are out, yes. Okay, so L, M, N, and O are in, Your Honor.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
T and Q will be testified to by this next witness. It's a photograph of a toilet with measuring tape. He took them personally. Do you want-
I think we
Any objection to P and Q?
I don't believe there will be, Judge, so long as there's testimony about it.
All right.
R was testified to, Carlisle Police Station front door.
No objection.
S was not. T, Carlisle High School records. I thought, did we agree to records coming in? Skylar's? Dad, do you want to be
I don't think we were agreeing that they come in.
There's a
You are
lot of-
agreeing or not agreeing?
No, I think that we're
No,
not.
there's a
agreeing.
lot of stuff in there that was never testified to.
My note was that the stipulation was to medical records, but
If I may, the experts testified that they reviewed those, Baskin being one of them. I remember, I think Dr. White also testified that he had reviewed them, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess the state's position, Judge, just because an expert reviewed something doesn't mean that 94 pages of the document come in.
you know, I think I would agree with that.
Is it just Bassman's report or is there everything behind it that's coming in? I'm taking S out.
What is that?
S are the school record.
That's T, isn't it?
T
Oh, sorry.
is not coming in?
Did you say it's not coming in?
I was just, are we offering T?
We offered T, yes.
All right, so the objection to T will be sustained, so T will be excluded.
U, Your Honor, is,
All right, U through Z all come in by way of stipulation, right?
yeah, this looks like medical record. U is a nutrition record. V is Cincinnati Center for Wellbeing, also medical Terry roll. W,
Judge, ours, and again, I'm sorry for any misunderstanding, our agreement to the stipulation of the medical records were to, it was our understanding was the Hilltop OBGYN records.
With regards to the other records, I believe that the discussion was we would stipulate that they were authentic, but not to their admissibility, that they are what they purport to be, but not that they would be admissible.
That's a correct, it's a correct statement.
Okay.
so do you want to offer them or not?
Tell me what records they are.
U is done. V is roll. W is children's. Take it out.
Take it.
Y was. All right, we'll have to tell that.
We stipulated.
All right, so U, V, W, and X are not being offered?
Correct.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Y comes in by stipulation, right?
Correct.
So does Z, Your Honor.
And Z comes in by stipulation. AA, do we have the objections to the redacted version that is proposed by the court?
I haven't had a chance to review that. Can we come back to that, Judge?
Okay.
I apologize. Just haven't had an opportunity to review.
All right, so we'll circle back to AA and BB and also EE. CC is not being offered, right?
So AA, Your Honor, is what? Coming back
That's
to
AA, BB are the reports of Dr. White. EE is the expert report of Hirsch.
All right. CC is Sim.
CC is Sims, which is not being offered.
Correct.
DD, any objection to DD?
No, Your Honor.
DD can be admitted. We'll talk about EE when we talk about the other ones. Do not believe. I'm looking at my notes on Bassman report. Is there any objection to the Bassman report?
Do you remember if was there anything?
All right, let's talk about that when we talk about all the rest of them.
Okay.
So GG through KK, are those being offered?
Your Honor, 1 minute. Was this the one we should? So, Your Honor, we are not offering GG, HH, II, JJ, KK. I'm gonna take those out. Sorry, KK is,
So GG through KK are not being offered?
that's correct.
All right. LL?
LL. Susan Allen and Murray. LL is being offered, Your Honor.
Any objection to LL?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe only a very small portion of LL was ever testified to or displayed to the jury.
All right, LL would be admitted over objection?
These are emails with Dr. Murray and Steve Kniffman.
And again-
Objections to MM and NN?
Yes, Your Honor. With respect to MM, neither myself nor Ms. Murray testified, and so I don't believe, and again, that only a small portion was shown to the jury, so I don't think it's appropriate for the entire email exchange to go back.
We'll exclude MM and NN.
NN, Your Honor, is between Allen and Murray.
Yes, I will exclude. Oh, wait. Allen is Brown, right?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. All right, no, I will admit N.
NN.
So only MM will be excluded.
Okay, that's out. OO.
No objection to all the OOs, right?
Someone not testified to, Your Honor, I believe.
Can you show me what?
Yeah.
Is that, no, Judge, we did object to all of those.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, subject to previous objections.
Yes.
So 1, 2, through 10. Through 10 were testified. Do you want to see these?
No, as long as the judge notes
I
that.
have testimony as to 1 through 21, and then 25, 26.
Don't believe, Your Honor, 11 or 12 were testified to.
So 11 and 12 are not being offered?
No. 13. Sorry, what did you have it to, Your Honor?
I have through 21.
We are pulling 20 and 21 now.
Okay, so 1 through 10, and then 13 through 19 will be admitted over the state's objection.
Yes. 22. Do we have that, Your Honor?
I do not have a note about 22, 23, 24. I do have a note about 25. That was the side-by-side truss.
24. So 22 through 24 are in?
I don't have a note that they were talked about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I
22
looked
is-
at them, I might know, but I
I
don't.
remember seeing 22.
22 is,
Yeah, okay, 22 is in.
23 is.
I remember that one.
And this is
Okay.
addressed.
All right, so 22, 23, and 24 will be admitted over the state's objection.
And I don't know that it matters, Your Honor. The state would not object to 24, which is a picture of her prom dress, but we would object to the other two.
All right,
25, Your Honor, is a side-by-side.
that'll be admitted.
26 is a beach picture in Florida.
No objection.
27 was not testified to, I don't believe. 28 was testified to, Your Honor's picture of Skylar and her prom dress and her boyfriend.
No objection.
29 was testified to, for senior year.
Same objection as before, Your Honor.
30, I don't believe was testified to, is that right? 31 was testified to, it's child watch group.
No
All right,
objection.
so 28, 29, and 31 will be admitted over the state's objection.
PP, Your Honor, was testified to, it's a picture of Skylar at work with a baby.
Same objection, Your Honor.
Admitted over the state's objection.
QQ will be this next witness, and then it will be more full instructions. It's the virtual tour.
Okay.
RR is an actual exhibit. We have a photograph in here. It's the tape measure that Dr. Andrew and Dr. Boyce said they use in their everyday practice.
No objection.
SS. No, not testified to.
Yes, there's this.
It might be there. I guess I have an objection to SS. It's your photograph. I know we talked a lot about it.
I'm pretty sure we used it.
That's fine. No objection.
No objection. TT, same thing.
No objection.
UU, also a veteran.
No objection.
BBM
No objection.
was WW testified to.
All right, so RR through VV will be admitted without objection.
WW is out, Your Honor.
WW's out.
It's out. XX was not testified
See.
to. It's a picture of a notebook. YY. Did we? Do you want YY?
Yeah.
You do? It's your
Hold on
photograph.
just 1 second.
No objection.
All right, I'm sorry, YY?
YY is no objection, Your Honor. Right?
Which one?
That was photograph.
Yes,
video.
no objection.
ZZ is out. AAA, Steve was photograph.
No objection.
Objection. Judge on BB, triple B.
So you say AA is,
AA, no objection, Your Honor.
Triple A, isn't it?
Triple A.
yeah, 3,
Sorry.
okay.
Do you want to pull BBB?
So-
Triple B is pulled, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah, this is triple C. These are all yours, I say.
Cool.
Triple C, we're not admitting, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Triple B, Your Honor.
No objection.
Triple D, no
No objection?
Triple E, that is the brush.
Pull it.
Triple E is not being offered, Your Honor.
Pull it.
Your Honor, triple F, triple G, and triple H we are not offering. Triple I, no objection. Triple J, no objection. That's the tree line, yeah.
Okay, no objection.
F, triple K or no?
Yep.
Okay, triple K. Just before they had the long bone. You want that?
Yeah.
Triple L is not being offered, Your Honor.
Is triple K being offered?
Yes.
And there was no objection.
Okay. L is not being offered, triple I.
Correct.
Nobody tested. Yeah.
Leave it. Your Honor, MMM through quadruple B is not being offered.
Okay. Takes us to 4C, the photo of the mattress.
Yes, 4C is being offered.
No objection?
4D, Dan. It's just a close-up of the triple.
Yep.
I think we would object just because I don't think there was any testimony about that specific photograph. I know the other one we had testimony about.
I thought there was a zoom in when he crossed the surface.
I do not have any note about 4D being talked about.
No, no, no.
Oh, it might be, because they do that on this, is what might have been talked about. It's the knife on, the butter knife on the bed close-up.
We have two there.
We can pull it.
All right, so 4D is not being offered.
Yeah, that's fine.
Objection to 4E?
This was what he testified to. That's the one he testified to. That's the big thing.
No objection.
So we're pulling. No F, Your Honor. That's 4G is not being offered. ACOG bulletin, Your Honors. Quadruple K.
Is 4, let's back up a little bit. 4H?
I didn't even have 4H, Your Honor. I don't see it.
Because 4I and 4J were the deeds, right?
4I and 4J.
Yes, those are the burial plots.
Those have already been excluded.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what 4H is.
I think originally
Somebody
there was-
talked about it.
Yeah, it was, 4H was part of the ACOG bulletin, and then later we identified the whole bulletin as
4K.
Okay, so there is no 4H?
No.
There is a 4K then.
Yes.
Objection to 4K?
Yes, Your Honor, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe we were provided that in discovery, and I don't believe the entire contents of the article was displayed.
Let me see 4K. Oh, okay, I remember this. Yeah, 4K will not be up there. Were 4L and 4M the calendars? I don't
Yes.
know. This is where things get a little funny for me because my notes are terrible.
I'm sorry.
Those were just for.
Yeah, we don't need to submit them.
Okay.
The
So
only
what's
thing
left in
is,
exhibit
this is the
one?
newest version that we're marking as 4P. So
Quadruple P, Your Honor, this will be instructions
they've changed a little bit because there's a Google update on how to operate the inside home tour. And they're printed, for the record, the printed instructions that will guide a user on a laptop to walk through the virtual tour on a laptop.
All right. So our witness is going to talk about these.
Yes.
No objection to QQ? I'm sorry, to 4P?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So 4P will be admitted subject to testimony. What else? What was the fire marshal's report?
Fire marshal was 4Q.
All right. 4Q will be excluded for lack of authentication and subject to the previous exhibits or objections. All right. Will that take us through all the exhibits?
Other than the expert reports?
Part of the police report that was testified to.
Say if you want to put a label on it, but I'm not going to admit the police report.
We won't offer it. Your Honor, I believe that's it.
What about the weather report?
That's in a Z.
Oh, it's in the Z.
Z, right?
All right, so you are going to review the court's proposed redactions to the expert reports of White, White 1, White 2, Hirsch, and let me know what your I don't think that I had any edits to the Bassman report, but I don't know yet. I don't think we were ready to talk about that one yet. Okay? All right, so when we say move your exhibits into evidence, we will be ahead of the curve on that one.
Your Honor, the Hilltop records, what letter are they?
I have Hilltop as being Y, 33 pages. And then what we'll do is after court today, we once again, Ms. Kilgore will have her notes together by then and go through all of the exhibits to make sure that the exhibits are in the right order and that no exhibits are not there that shouldn't be or are there that should be, not there that should be.
Okay.
Okay? All right, is there anything else we need to talk about while we are sort of on the record?
Judge, would it be appropriate for us to black out, or redact, I should say, the table of contents for our exhibits, so we can keep that with?
I mean, I don't have objection to either side submitting an exhibit list. I think it's a good idea that the jury should have one. Just, I mean, it needs to be a redacted one, not just like, I mean, it needs to be either white lined or something so that the excluded exhibits you cannot make them out from that. I assume that the state wants that as well? So
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so we'll be ready with that tomorrow morning, and just give me that if you want to email it to me overnight.
Okay.
Judge, it's, you cannot read that. This is a clean copy. Is that from?
Okay, if you give me the better copy, we will white it out once we get the exact edits. Because yeah, that's a scanned copy of a photo from my Surface, so.
Should I give it to you now or give it to Mr. Mullins?
We can wait until we talk about it. Just keep it ready, at the ready. I'll take it. But this is just one of the reports though, right?
It's just one, it's just because I can't barely read.
All right, so you can get me another of White's supplement and Hirsch and Bassman. You can get copies of all of those for me?
I can give you.
Okay, we can work on that on the break.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else to talk about while we're on the record, Mr. Knippen? Ms. Crafts?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so we're gonna go off the record. You're gonna test the equipment, right, Mr. Mullins? And we're gonna make sure that our witness will be able to operate it from, I think that cord goes from there to there. So, all right, we're in recess. You may proceed.
Joe, will you please spell your last name for the record?
Sure, it's Danzer.
And what do you do for a living?
I do a type of photography, creating virtual tours, mostly for marketing purposes for businesses.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it for 7 years.
can you explain to us what that means, virtual tour?
Sure. Basically, I do a type of photography that allows me to take multiple images and create a 360-degree view, very similar to Google Street View, that allows you to stand in the center of that view and see a representation as if you were standing in that spot. And I do that for businesses, and in this case, for Charlie, to help represent a space as it's seen with more detail than just a single photograph.
And how do you create the image so that you can manipulate on the computer as if you're there and look 360?
Sure. So it's not a type of video or anything. It's basically I set a tripod up, I use a standard camera, and I take multiple images in a 360 circle, and I then stitch those images together to create the view.
Okay. And you did do a virtual tour of the Richardson home in this case, correct?
Yes.
And did you also create virtual tour instructions so that a user could operate the virtual tour on a laptop if they chose?
Yes.
And may I approach Charlie? The marked as Defendant's Exhibit Triple P, are those the instructions?
Yes, they are.
Could we, on that laptop, can you access your virtual tour for us
Yes.
of the Richardson home?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you able to walk to the front door?
Yes.
Is that possible?
I think we're currently standing near the front door. If I turn around 180 degrees, you'll see the entrance of the home, the front door.
Do you have an image right outside, like you're walking into the house?
No, we took images all indoors except for the rear of the house.
Okay, so this is the front door that we're looking at right now?
Yes, it is.
And you can manipulate that just by scrolling or holding down and scrolling?
Yes, you can simply click and drag in the direction that you would like to view.
Okay. Could you take us to the next blue dot would be the next spot where you set up your tripod camera, correct?
That's correct.
Could you take us to that, please? And could you take us into the living room? Okay. Can you turn, do you know where the Richardson, Scott, and Kim's bedroom is?
Yes. It's here.
Are you able to go inside that room? Okay. Can you turn so that we're looking towards the backyard? So that would be the backyard?
That's correct.
Okay. And turn, if you don't mind, staying in the room. You don't need to go to the next blue dot. Can you look back out in the living room from their room? Thank you. Can you walk us from spot to spot as if you're going up the stairwell? So that's the front door again? Okay, so now we're at the top of the stairs. Can you, the blue dot in the center of the screen, do you know whose room that is?
I know it's the young man's room.
Oh, okay, so that bedroom B would be Jackson's room, Skylar's brother.
Jackson, that's correct.
The dot on the right, can you just put without going, just put your cursor there, that's Skylar's room?
That's correct.
Can you keep turning without changing your position? And show us where the bathroom is. Okay, and you can click those blue dots and you can be in the bathroom on the virtual tour, is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you walk us into Skylar's room? Okay, so this is Skylar's room as it appeared on the date that you created the virtual tour, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. On here, are you able to show us did you correlate the tour with the actual floor plans of the home?
I did. As per the instructions, there is a a few tools on the left-hand side of the screen, and the middle one is the show floor plan.
Okay, are you able to show us that live? Okay. So how did you get there?
On the left-hand side screen, those tools are available for you to turn on the floor plan. You can then close the floor plan with the X, or you can go back to the other floors and see each individual image by choosing the different floors and the exterior of the home at the bottom.
Okay, and this is the floor plan of the Richardson home?
Yes.
Can you do us a favor and go back into the tour and walk us outside of them?
Sure.
Through the rear. You walk us towards the middle of the yard. Do you know approximately how many feet each button or a blue dot is?
We did kind of make an average from here to the tree line, and my best estimate would be roughly between 15 and 20 feet per
dot.
Per walking path. Yep.
And slowly, can you just do a 360, just slow turn here and toward the middle of the yard, just so we can see the surroundings standing in the middle of the yard? So that's the home. There's a couple neighbors' homes to the right, to the left, and more to the left. And then that's the tree line, right?
Yes.
And you put this tour on a thumb drive for the jury, is that correct?
That is correct.
And so if they were interested in doing this themselves, looking at the home, the plans, how would you recommend, they'll have a computer in the back, how would you recommend that they do that?
Sure. As per the instructions, the best way to do so is to first copy the virtual tour to the computer. It is currently in a zip file. Unzip that file onto the computer, and then per the instructions, I've made it as easy as possible to simply double-click one file, and that will open the entire tour, and you will see the exact same thing you're seeing that I'm using here. And there's also instructions to get to the different areas easily to view the imagery.
Thank you. Can we toggle it to the Elmo? Can we toggle to the Elmo? Thank you. Did you also take a few photographs of the Richardson home?
Yes, I took a
At our request?
At your request.
This is a photograph previously been marked as Defendant's Exhibit P. Which toilet is that?
That's the one that we viewed in the upstairs bathroom.
And this would be, you took that photograph, correct?
I did.
And this would be a measuring tape at the deepest part of the toilet through the little hole at the bottom where the water is just past 4 inches, is that right?
That is correct.
All right, and this is a fair and accurate depiction of the toilet upstairs in that bathroom next to Jackson's bedroom.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as Defense Exhibit Q. Same tape measure, same toilet?
Yes.
And this is where the water has a bigger circumference and the water level's about 1 inch.
That is correct.
And you can see towards the top of the tape measure that toilet rim is what, about 8 inches?
Yes.
Fair and accurate depiction of the toilet next to Jackson's bedroom in that bathroom?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. You can step down. Next witness.
Your Honor, the defense rests.
Any rebuttal on behalf of the state?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in the case is now closed, but we are not yet to the point where you are ready to render a decision. So we are going to break for the day. During this break, you get to go home, so that's the good news. We are going to reconvene tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Extra cautions for tonight, all of the same cautions apply, okay? But extra cautions, because I've told you this already a couple of times. Now that you say to yourself, well, I have all the evidence, I can start thinking about how I should decide the case, and that's not how it works. You still need to give the attorneys the opportunity to argue the case to you, and you also are going to get the instructions of law. So don't start talking about how the case should be decided. Don't talk about it with the folks at home or let them talk about it in your presence. Don't do any research. Don't go to the websites that we have talked about. Don't drive by the Eagle Ridge address. And if you get here early tomorrow, don't start talking about the case until you are instructed to do so. And we will follow our same pattern. Let's be here at 8:45 tomorrow with the idea that we will start at 9 o'clock. Mr. Mullins, you can take the jury out. First order of business tomorrow morning. Mr. Mullins, I don't know when you want to take care of this, because you will be deliberating during the lunch time tomorrow after closings and legal arguments. Mr. Mullins is going to go ahead and get your order, and we will go ahead and place your order so it will be ready for you after closing arguments and instructions. So, Mr. Mullins, if you need to get them there a couple of minutes early tomorrow to get their orders and stuff together, that might make sense, but I would like to get started as close to 9 o'clock tomorrow as possible. All right. Good night.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As promised, 90 minutes, defense's 5 final witnesses, and now we wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we hear the defense and prosecution's closing arguments. Tomorrow, we get the verdict. If necessary, tomorrow we'll get a sentencing. We will finally answer the question, was justice served in the case against Brooke Skylar Richardson? I ask you humbly to be back here tomorrow morning. I will have a totally different intro than I have in the 10 previous intros before, because this will be the final installment. Until then, thank you so much. If you missed it, join me on watch it again on the replay. Go back over the previous 9. Catch the links in installment 9. Thanks, Elizabeth Ross, for jumping in. The links are there in installment 9 because the broadcast was cut way shorter than I wanted to, and I'm unable to download and repost it at the moment. And again, I apologize for all that. And if you didn't like the presentation, I promise I will do better next time. Baby kisses, if you missed me from the beginning, you have a lot of rewatching to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I am done for the day. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's be back here tomorrow because, like we said, this is it. This is the finale. Is she guilty of aggravated murder? Is she guilty of involuntary manslaughter? Is she guilty of child endangerment? Is she guilty of abuse of a corpse? Tomorrow, we will find out together. Until then, this is BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded Throwback, Ohio versus Richardson. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. I thank you so much, and until we meet tomorrow, you know what to do. Bite this. Hey guys, this is The Last Outlaw saying thank you to all of you who watched this video and subscribe to BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded, your drama-free true crime destination. I couldn't dream of doing this without you, so thank you. Did you enjoy this presentation? Are you looking to get more information on everything presented here? Are you looking to give more feedback on this presentation? Here's what you can do. Like this video. The more eyes on this video, the more this information is spread to others, which brings us a step closer to justice served. Share this video to your social media. Just like dropping a like, the more eyes on this video, the closer we get to justice served. Drop me a comment, whether it's on the topic or the presentation. I am open to all comments, whether it's a theory, a speculation, or a suggestion. I will respond to all. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button to show your support of this little true crime engine powered by you. Set the notification bell to all for future videos. Be sure to follow BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded all over social media. At BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded True Crime on Facebook. At EKB316 on X, formerly known as Twitter. At BETHEA'S BYTE Reloaded on YouTube. At EKB316 on Instagram. At King of Hearts 316 2021 on TikTok. You can drop me an email as well. The address is kingofhearts316_09@outlook.com. This is your home for news without the drama, where your opinions matter, for lively debates, where your voice is heard, and above all else, justice served. This is BETHEA'S BYTE, and it's reloaded.